there, it's just about 10 a.m. this morning. I'm meteorologist Cheetah Craft. We now have Tropical Storm Arthur. This is the thing I want you to keep in mind. Our impacts that we've been talking about all morning, they stay the same. But this has been upgraded officially to our first tropical storm of the season, Tropical Storm Arthur. Right now, we have max sustained winds at 40 miles per hour. Tropical storm strength is at 39. So this is a weak tropical storm. Again, the impacts are expected to stay the same. Really high elevated surf right along the coast. Some of the surge amounts could be 1 to 3 feet from Galveston Bay. That's going to hang right along Chambers, but right when you get into Louisiana, some of that surge could be more like 4 to 7 feet. Keep in mind, the west side of this is the drier side, where the east side is going to be the dirty side. This is going to race so quickly off into Louisiana. It's going to take all that moisture along with it. We are still under this tropical storm watch all along the upper Texas coastline, but do you see how right when you transition into Louisiana, that has been upgraded to a tropical storm warning? That's all in anticipation of Arthur. This morning, we've had Devon Rahming live outside in Galveston, elevated surf. Our high tide was between 8 to 9:30 this morning, and that is what brought in all that water right along the coast there. And you can see how deep that water line is. We're expecting choppy conditions with potentially wind gusts on the island around 40, 45 miles per hour. Not out of the question we could get an isolated spot getting 50-mile-per-hour gusts there. So again, along the coast in Galveston, it's just a messy, sloppy morning, and I'm expecting it to stay like that through about lunchtime today. Now, downtown Houston, improving conditions. I'm going to get to our radar, and overall, we're actually going to see improving conditions, especially after lunchtime. However, a lot of tropical moisture just offshore. What was really torrential rain in Pasadena, areas in Baytown, closer to Barrett, Channelview, so all of our east side areas, now it's really spotty. It's isolated under an active flash flood warning until 10:30 this morning. But again, it's really isolated. I think it'll be set to expire in the next 30 minutes as that high water is expected to recede. Keep in mind, areas near Pasadena picked up almost 5 inches of rain in about an hour this morning. So it was just torrential rain in parts of the east side. And then I take you down to Brazoria County. Boy, this is a spot that we've watched really carefully. Almost 8 inches of rain closer into Freeport this morning. And that's been over like a 6-hour period. So isolated spots saw torrential rain early this morning. Take a look along the east side. 2, 3, 4 inches of rain, but then you had more inside Harris County, parts of Montgomery County. We're talking 2, 3/10 of an inch, isolated spots up to about a ½ inch of rain. So it really depends on exactly where you are. The good news is the rain is going to wind down. Hey, are you heading to Houston Stadium? I know, the match starts at noon. So showers, I say, an isolated shower heading into the stadium right now, 11, maybe even lunchtime, still possible. This afternoon, we are drying out quickly today. Can we see some breaks of the clouds, a little bit of sunshine, potentially upper 80s, nearing 90 this afternoon? We're going to go from a really rainy forecast to a really hot forecast, and that's going to happen as quickly as tomorrow. So temperatures back into the low 90s for Thursday. Winds, current wind speeds right now sustained around 33 miles per hour on the island. 30 in Harris County though. So, very breezy to gusty all across the area. But if I quickly took you into about 3 o'clock this afternoon, the winds go really strong to starting to weaken by 3 o'clock, maybe less than 10 miles per hour. Check this out on our future track. Okay, this is an updated run showing probably an aggressive spot here across the area now through about lunchtime. And I would still say an isolated pocket of, some moderate showers still possible. But look at this, 1 o'clock, so getting just after the match gets going at lunchtime today. Look how these showers rapidly wind down. And then by the afternoon, maybe an isolated pocket here or there, but otherwise, we're really looking good for the afternoon hours. So if you are here visiting our city, I know we have a tropical storm basically just offshore, but really the impacts, most of that rain is going to head right into Louisiana, and that means a break for us for the afternoon and for the evening hours. This is a look at 3:30 this afternoon. When you're heading out of Houston Stadium, I actually think you're going to be mostly dry. We're still going to be dealing with slick spots, clouds in place, but all in all, that's about it. minimal impacts considering we are tracking and talking our first tropical storm of the season. Big picture on our 7-day forecast, keeping the weather impact alert in effect right now. I say through the afternoon, and then hopefully by this evening we'll be able to drop it. And then starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, leading into Father's Day on Sunday, rapidly improving conditions. I mean, this is a nice improvement from, our original forecast where we thought a lot of this rain would linger Thursday and Friday. It moves out pretty quickly. Do you see what happens with these temperatures? We are building quickly back into the 90s, and some of those heat index values are going to possibly be into the triple digits. So let me take you back to the radar. Let me give you the latest information. Some of you probably saw this little pop-up on your phone and you thought, okay, tropical storm, and this, and you know what? Let me see if I can get the recon planes. Hold on. Give me a second. I know we're live and I'm doing this for you on the spot, but I always love to see those hurricane hunters in real time, so that live data, and I'm going to pull that up for you. So they took off around 9:30 this morning. Let me put the track into motion for you. Okay, so took off. These are the hurricane hunters, and what they're doing is collecting data, of course, and that is why they saw those wind speeds strong enough and said, nope, we've got a tropical storm on our hands. It's a weak tropical storm. So this is their flight path. Watch that almost in real time. I'm going to take you to the live spot here. They did, let's see how many passes. Okay, we're getting the update, that first initial pass. They may go back over it one more time, and then they'll probably head back into Biloxi. But yeah, took off early this, about 9:30 this morning, and now they're starting to give those updates, but they already saw enough to see a closed low circulation at the surface and max sustained winds above 39 miles per hour. So I'll get back. Probably a lot of you pushed this alert when you saw, okay, tropical storm Arthur did develop. It's moving northeast around 9 miles per hour, and then maximum sustained winds. So we're talking sustained winds around 40 miles per hour. That's why we have the tropical storm at hand, but those intermittent gusts around 50 miles per hour. This is why we have a tropical storm watch all along the coastline here that does upgrade to a tropical storm warning once you get into Louisiana. This is a really quick mover. So right now it's moving around 9 miles per hour. You give this about an hour or two, and it could be up to about 13 or 14. I mean, it's going to race off to the east. As it makes landfall, a big chunk of that energy is all going to go into Louisiana. I mean, we're talking about a tropical storm. It doesn't have the definition that you would see out of a hurricane. You can see on our tropical satellite imagery. I'll get that back for you. And it's fairly lopsided, so most of that moisture is going to head, into Louisiana. We saw some heavy downpours earlier this morning, but I think a big chunk of that energy is going to really start to push off into Louisiana. So I'll show you a broad view on our radar right now and then kind of take you around the city, because even though we're going to have a tropical storm through lunchtime and into your early afternoon just off the coastline here, the impacts that were originally forecasted, they're going to stay the same. And you notice everything's becoming a lot more isolated. I took off the watch. We're still under a flood watch through 7 o'clock this evening. I do think the National Weather Service will probably be able to expire that a little bit early. But notice some of the showers, really isolated, fairly spotty. Even that thunderstorm that was in Freeport has now completely weakened. It completely fizzled out. So it's really just some passing showers. I will say, okay, it's 10:08 right now. I think you could still see some showers even through lunchtime today. We're not just going to be completely dry, and we're still going to be dealing with these gusty winds. But look, if I broaden out the scope on the radar, you're going to see where all this moisture is. Look at that. I mean, deep moisture just offshore. This chunk is all going to drive into Louisiana. You have to remember, this is wrapping around that area of low pressure. You get counterclockwise spin. So as that starts to move north, that is going to take all that into parts of Louisiana. Even with that being said, I don't think wind gusts there will be any more than about 55, 60 miles per hour. Let me show you our future track of our winds and show you what we are expecting throughout the day. And then I'll get to some of the live cameras, so maybe you can see what's all going on all across the city. So sustained winds, let's see, I'll take you through 10, up through about noon today. Wow, look at that. Even after lunchtime, watch how these winds just kind of completely dip off, and then you're going to start to see how in Louisiana, those winds are really going to start to pick up. So I'll take you quickly into about 2:30 this afternoon. Inside the city, we're tracking winds right now around 25, gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. By 2:30 this afternoon, we're down to about 10 miles per hour. So this is going to be really, really quick. This is a very weak tropical storm, but still first tropical storm of the season, developed Arthur just offshore. Now I'll show you some of those live cameras and kind of just take you across the city since we've got a little extra time on our hands. And the good news is, all along we've been saying, hey, if this develops or this doesn't, it was the tropical downpours this morning, some strong gusty wind, elevated surf. Oh no, did our Galveston camera go down? Let's see if I can pull it back up. But either way, you've got low cloud ceilings draped across the city. You've still got some really slick roadways, so just be prepared for maybe some of that kick-up spray. If we do have any spotty showers, be prepared through lunchtime. Look how breezy it is. This live camera from St. Thomas showing the trees just blowing away. So some gusty winds. You can see that across the city. The good news, IAH, I have not heard any reports. You can see the planes moving here. That's a live camera for you. So this one you can watch on the runway. It's moving and expected to take off. So again, when we're talking a tropical storm just offshore, that is really, really good news. And for any fans heading over to the Houston Stadium, this is an improving forecast, especially for your afternoon. I know it was really, really messy early this morning. We were dodging some heavy rain. Showers are pretty much intermittent and very isolated at this point. And then by the afternoon, we're completely drying out. In fact, if we get enough breaks in the clouds, not out of the question, we could get close to 90 degrees this afternoon. It's going to be a really quick shift of rain across the area to really high heat. So again, I'm going to wrap it up because things are really becoming very intermittent and isolated. I'll give you a last look at what is Tropical Storm Arthur that just developed. Just developed here from the National Hurricane Center, thanks to those recon planes gathering that information with those dropsondes. It's expected to stay right along the upper Texas coastline, and then as it pushes into Louisiana, it takes the bulk of the moisture with it. Max sustained winds at 40 miles per hour. We're really not expecting much more than that. This is going to be a short-lived tropical storm. But yes, all right, for now, I'm meteorologist Cheetah Craft. We're going to continue to bring you live updates all morning long.